In the heart of a chaotic and conflicted world, where the clamor of war was a constant echo, there stood a soldier weathered by battles. His name was Captain Alex Miller. He had served in countless campaigns in regions with names that seemed to blur together in his mind. Each engagement had left its mark on his soul, etching lines of fatigue and disillusionment into his weathered face. With each passing day, the burdens of conflict had become increasingly heavy, weighing down his spirit like an anchor in a stormy sea. It was in the twilight of a particularly brutal conflict that Captain Miller found himself standing on a desolate battlefield, surrounded by the echoes of gunfire and the acrid stench of death. As he surveyed the scene before him, he realized that the ideals that had once fueled his passion for service had long since withered away, replaced by a profound sense of futility and exhaustion. The once fiery determination that had burned in his heart now flickered as a dying ember, threatening to be extinguished forever. With a heavy heart and a mind burdened by the weight of his experiences, Captain Miller made a decision that would alter the course of his life. In the dead of night, he slipped away from his unit, leaving behind the trappings of war and the relentless cycle of violence that had consumed his existence for far too long. He vanished into the wilderness, seeking solace in the quiet solitude of nature and the freedom of the open road. As he journeyed through unfamiliar landscapes, he found himself drawn to the simplicity of a nomadic lifestyle. Free from the shackles of military discipline and the demands of commanding officers, he reveled in the tranquility of the natural world. He wandered through rugged terrain, crossing barren deserts and dense forests, finding solace in the rhythm of his footsteps and the whispering winds that carried tales of forgotten lands. In his travels, Captain Miller encountered a holy man. This person was a follower of Christ. The holy man began to preach about how Jesus died for mankind and conquered death, so that mankind could live on even after death. Captain Miller asked the holy man, "Why is there death and war in our lives?" The holy man replied, "Death and war do not stem from the Son of God, but from fallen angels." Both the holy man and Captain Miller began to develop a bond with each other, and Captain Miller became increasingly attached to his faith. Every day he posed questions about Jesus, and with each answer he received, his soul grew stronger. Several years had passed, and Captain Miller had learned so much about faith. He had evolved into a new person, growing stronger both mentally and physically. The memories of the past that had haunted him for years no longer bothered him. He decided to go back home with vengeance, not as a soldier of a nation, but a warrior of Christ against evil. He preached the word of God to everyone, but he was particularly determined to preach to soldiers, since he knew the pain of a soldier is not easy and that pain needs salvation.